Let's take a look at depictions of African Americans in white authored genealogies of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. 2018 New York Public Library article on why read genealogies says the following about reading them to learn more about African Americans. Published family histories sometimes contain anecdotal information regarding the lives and experiences of African Americans, even though the vast majority of them were written by and about white families. These accounts make for painful reading, but they are an undertapped source worthy of more examination. For example, the descendants of Captain Thomas Carter of Barford, Lancaster County, Virginia, 1652 to 1912, list by name the so-called servants of Thomas Davis in the late 1780s. Specifically, pages 167 and 168 name at least 30 African Americans whose descendants can learn much about their own ancestral homes from this book. I'll read a passage. The little account book quoted before gives the names of 14 servants that he had when he removed to Kentucky. 6 of whom had been brought to him by his wife. They were Sarah, the old Davis nurse or mammy, Adam, Rachel, Matthew, Pallas, Mary, Ball, Josiah, Martin, Carter, Jane, Priscilla, Willia, and Fanny. His Bible records filed at Washington give the names and dates of birth of 11 others as follows: Betty, Rachel, Aggie, George Lawson, Mary, Jr., Minnie, Mariah, John Bull, Charles Lewis, and the inventory of the estate names 4 children born later: George, Priscilla, Sarah, and William. His granddaughter, Miss Sally Jeff, also gives the names of several other servants who do not appear in any of the above lists. Among them, a big Guinea negress named Nan, who had lost but little of her savagery since coming to this country. She frequently went on a rampage and cleaned up the place, on one occasion poisoning 13 of the other servants badly, after which she was sold to a cotton plantation in Mississippi. Public library text continues about the Captain Thomas Carter genealogy, saying, written in 1912, it refers to a purported episode involving a big Guinea negress named Nan. Here, the library inserts a photograph of the Suggs family, whose member Eliza Suggs wrote her own family heritage book titled Shadows and Sunshine. The Suggs are not known to have a connection to the Carter family, and the Suggs photo caption reads, most early family histories were written by affluent white families, but they can still provide clues for African American genealogy research. The article goes on to say, learning the names of slaves and where they may have been sold can provide important clues for researchers, including people searching for their ancestors. These stories can also reveal much about racist attitudes. Slaves are also often individually named in the text of their owners' wills, and a good number of published Southern family histories include transcriptions of these documents. A typical example is the will of Elizabeth Jeffreys, found in Body and Allied Families. On page 117, it says, "I give and bequeath unto my son Osborne Jeffreys, his heirs forever, my Negro boy named Dick, upon condition that he pay my 3 grandchildren, Robert Hilliard, Mary Hilliard, and Sampson Hilliard, or their survivors of them, when they come of age or the day of marriage, the sum of 27 pounds current money of Virginia, to be divided equally between them. I give and bequeath unto my son Robert Hilliard and his heirs forever, my Negro wench named Joan, upon condition that he pay unto my granddaughter Elizabeth Body, when she comes of age or the day of marriage, the sum of 10 pounds Virginia money." Copies of these records may or may not be available elsewhere. They can be invaluable sources for genealogists. Even if wills have also been preserved in state repositories of probate records, these digital transcriptions are searchable online. Some published family histories also provide a vivid reminder that slavery was not restricted to the South. For example, according to the Bergen family, or the descendants of Hans Hansen Bergen, one of the early settlers of New York and Brooklyn, Long Island, the custom of giving drams to their Negroes was quite common among the early settlers, those of New Jersey, including the author's ancestors. Charity Bergen was born to command, and did command, up to the time of her death, she managing and giving all directions for the farm, of which she was left in possession after the death of her husband. They had 14 slaves, and amongst her peculiarities, as related by one of her descendants, was her taking her stand morning, noon, and night in the door leading from the family room to the kitchen, with a well-filled flask of apple whiskey or apple jack in her hand. When the slaves coming in for their meals would be called by name, beginning with the oldest, and each be allowed to take a good stiff dram of the raw stuff, and then retire to the door, hat in hand, with a "Dank you raw," or "Thank you, missus." That's the end of what the New York Public Library has to say about reading genealogies to learn more about African Americans in its 2018 article, Encouraging Genealogy Reading. Another reason to read genealogies is to pick up tips for writing your own family history. And that's where the 2018 New York Public Library article turns next. So we'll talk about that in segment 5 of 6. See you there.